Okay. Why didn't go?
Okay, let us begin. Thank you, Dov. Page 170, Parsha Vayishlach. Boker Tov, Ma Shlomech? Mitzuyan. Okay, how are you? Okay, good. Who wants to lead off for us in Hebrew? How do you say? Vayishlach Yaakov. Miri, b'chavod.
וישלח יעקב מלאכים לפניו ולעשו אחיו ארצה, שעיר שדה אדום. ויצב אותם לאמור, כה תאמרו לאדוני לעשו. כה אמר עבדך יעקב, עם לבן גרתי ואחר לאחיו עד עתה.
Good. In English, please, someone lead off for us. Linda?
Which one? The beginning.
The other Linda.
Hallelujah.
To Esau, his brother, to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. He charged them, saying, Thus shall you say, to my lord, to Esau, so said your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban, and have lingered until now. I have acquired oxen, donkeys, flocks, servants, and maidservants, and am sent to you, tell my lord, find favor in your eyes.
Good. So here Yaakov is preparing for his encounter with Esav, and we say Masa Avot Siman Labanim, the actions of the fathers serves as a sign for the children, and much is learned out from Yaakov's approach to Esav in terms of our approach in our galut, in our exile, and our dealings with Esav. The galut that we are in now, the exile that we are presently in now, and even though, thankfully, we've returned to the land of Israel and established sovereignty in the land of Israel, but the very fact that the temple is in ruins and listening to the news every day coming from Israel, we understand that we are still very much in galut, still very much in exile. So,
These
and that is...
soldiers got hurt today, I don't know.
Sorry?
Where. This morning, 3 soldiers got hurt.
Yeah, got hurt. Okay. Yeah, so that is the exile. We are now in the exile of Edom, and we learn out from Yaakov's encounter with Esav as to how we deal with this galut. And there are 3 ways that Yaakov prepared. First of all, he sent gifts. Okay? And we have to try to placate when possible, when necessary. So Yaakov sent these gifts to Esav. Okay? Now, the messengers came back and said, now interestingly, the Or HaChaim points out that he sent these gifts to Esav Achiv, Esav his brother, in the very first pasuk, Arza Seir, the land of Seir, Sedei Edom, the field of Edom. And the Or HaChaim, one of the classic commentators, says that this actually is a remez, this is a hint to the 3 stages that we will have with Edom. Lirmos Gimel Zmanim, to allude to 3 times that will change with our relation with the children of Esav. Ha'achad ha'yu Yaakov Esav amidas ha'achva. There was a time when we got along very nicely, and that is Esav Achiv. That's the first thing. He sent it to who? To Esav, his brother. And that was until the time of the Chorban. That was until the time of the destruction of the temple. Beth, the second time, is Mizman Shenechel Habayit ad et keit she'esav b'mala gedola v'ein ma'alas Yisroel nikeres lefanav. V'ushem es b'amru arza seir. Okay, the second one is after the destruction, when we are in their land, we are at their mercy. That is Arza Seir, in the land of Seir. Ultimately, as we learned in the Navi class last night, that we finished the Navi Micha last night, and what was the term we used, Yafi? Lemir Mas, right? That it'll be trampled, right? The nations will come against us, will be trampled upon. That is the last point of Sedei Edom, right? The field of Edom, that it will be turned into, Edom will be turned into a field, right? Those who will refuse, the Pasuk says, Sedei Edom kasadeh techarash, the Pasuk in Yirmiyahu says. So that'll be the time of the Geula, the redemption. Those who are standing up against God, even at that point, will become the Sedei Edom.
Excuse me, what does it mean it's turned into a field? I mean, it'll be desolate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the whole Western world?
Those who don't accept, those who will not accept God, right? And those who will not accept God, not the whole.
God in our understanding of it, because everybody.
Not accept God in the very clear understanding that will be apparent to all at that time.
Which is our understanding. That's what implied.
Yes. Yes. You know, we've given the parable before that the time of the Mashiach is considered, right, now in time of darkness, that's considered a time of day, of light. And in darkness, there could be all of this confusion, right? Once there is this bright illumination, at that point, it all becomes clear. Okay. Now, Yaakov prepared for his meeting with Esav in 3 ways. One of the ways was with this gift that he is sending. The other one is, let's turn to page 172, 173, the psukim first in Hebrew, Chet and Tet. Vayira Yaakov b'ivrit mishu.
וירא יעקב מאוד ויצר לו, ויחץ את העם אשר איתו ואת הצאן ואת הבקר והגמלים לשני מחנות. ויאמר אם יבוא עשיו אל המחנה האחד ויקעו, והיה המחנה הנשאר לפליטה.
Good. In English, 8 and 9, please.
Jacob became very frightened, and it distressed him. So he divided the people with him and the flocks, cattle, camels, into 2 camps. For he said, if Esav comes to the one camp and strikes it down, then the remaining camp shall survive.
Okay. So, means number 2 of preparation for the encounter with Esav was battle. A battle plan. Battle readiness. That is the second way that we prepare for such an encounter. Thirdly, Pasuk Yud in Hebrew, Vayomer Yaakov.
Vayomer Yaakov, Elokei Avi, Abraham, Elokei Avi Yitzchak, Hashem ha'omer Elai, Shuv la'artzecha, u'lemoladetecha, ve'etiva imach. Katonti mikol ha'chasadim, mikol ha'emet, asher asiso ve'es avodecha. Ki b'makli avarti es ha'yarden hazeh, va'ata ha'yisi l'shnei machanos.
One more.
Hatzileni no miyad achi, miyad Esav. Ki orei anochi yoso pen yovo, v'hikani eim al banim.
Good. Thank you. Let's take in English 10, 11, and 12. Then Jacob said,
God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, Hashem, who said to me, return to your land and to your relatives, and I will do good with you. I've been diminished by all the kindnesses and by all the truth that you have done, your servant. For with my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps.
go a little further. Rescue me, please.
Rescue me, please, for the hand of my brother, from the hand of
Esav.
For I fear him lest he come and strike me down, mother and children. And you had said, I will surely do good with you, and I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, which is too numerous to count.
Okay. So the third way of preparation is?
War.
Second one's war.
Prayer.
Praying. Right? Davening. Prayer. That is the third way that he prepares. God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, Hashem who said to you, return to your land, right? And I will do good with you. So if God already promised him that, what's he worried about? That's the next thing. Katonti. I've been diminished by all the kindness, by the truth you have done for your servants. In other words, Shema Yigram Hachet. I become diminished. Perhaps I am no longer worthy of that which you had promised. Hatzileni na miyad achi miyad Esav. A little bit redundant in verse 12, right? Save me, please, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav. Now, he's only got one brother by the name of Esav. So the pasuk could have simply said, Hatzileni na, save me, please, miyad, either achi or miyad Esav. And if you want to really spell it out, miyad achi Esav, from the hand of my brother Esav. Why from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav? So
it emphasizes the bloodline, how close they are.
Okay, but it seems, but for that we could have said from the hand of my brother Esav. Right? We don't need from the hand, from the hand.
Sometimes repetition in writing like that, we have it in Torah when they do repetition, it's an emphasis. It's not because you don't understand, but it just makes it deeper, it emphasizes.
Okay, I will surely sometimes, yeah, right. Right.
Right, but
Good.
by
Different
repeating.
aspects of Esav, it could be as his brother, it could be as...
Good. So the Beis Halevi and Natalie both are of the opinion that both of the opinion that there are two things that he is concerned of, and that's why he says from the hand of. There are two aspects that he's afraid of. He's afraid of the hand of my brother, and he's afraid of the hand of Esav. Meaning, and it's fascinating, the Beis Halevi wrote this well before we had a Holocaust followed by the assimilation and the ravaging that has done to the Jewish people that followed after the Holocaust. And there is the Esav, the militant Esav, who's coming to try to destroy us, to annihilate us. There's the final solution, Esav. And there's also the brother, from the hand of my brother. That when there is this welcoming embrace, then also we lose out tremendously. Right? One is a very, very painless, or I shouldn't say painless, but almost a silent attrition, where we lose and lose and lose through assimilation. So the prayer over here was that save me from both of these aspects. That's what he was so afraid of. Now, the Mefarshim also point out that Yaakov, we split up Yaakov's travels to last week's Parsha and this week's Parsha. Last week's Parsha was Yaakov's travels outside the land of Israel, and the troubles he had there in the house of Lavan. And this is Yaakov's return to the land of Israel and the challenges that come along over there. And this corresponds to the time that we spent in this long exile outside the land of Israel, and more recently, the time that we were able to return to the land of Israel. And actually, at the very end, if you want to take a look for a moment, Perek Lamed Hey, Pasuk Chaf Aleph.
What is the in English?
Yeah, that is on page 194. No? Yes. No, I'm sorry, too far up. Make that 190.
And what is the
Page 190, verse 21. And this is when they have, they're ready now to enter into the land of Israel, right? We just had the birth of Benjamin, the last of the tribes. And then it says, Chaf Aleph Vayisa Yisroel traveled, Vayet Ahalo Mehala Lemigdal Eder, and he set his tent, Mehala from there beyond to Migdal Eder. Migdal Eder in English is translated as Migdal Eder. Not much of a translation. What is a Migdal? A tower. What is Eder? A flock. So the Targum Yonatan says as follows. Unital Yaakov went to Paras Mishkanein, and he set up his tent min lahala, from there lemigdala de Eder, to Migdal Eder, Atra, the place, the mitaman atid de itgalei malka mishicha besof yomaya, the place that in the future the Melech HaMashiach, the king, the Messiah king, will reveal himself besof yomaya, at the end of the days. And he explains here that Eder is a flock, which is like a gathering, right? And Micha, the Navi Micha that we have been studying on Monday nights, refers to the children of Israel as that Eder, as that flock. So that's the gathering of the flock. That is the refuge that will be there for the flock at the time of the Mashiach.
And where is this place? Is there such a place?
Yes, there certainly is such a place. Where is it nowadays? We need Yossi and Uzi to duke it out.
No, Migdal. Yeah, there is Migdal.
Yeah, where is that?
It's on the way to the Ciner.
On the way to the Kinneret.
No.
Migdal Eder.
It's not the place.
What are you
Yeah.
thinking?
I was reading the Targum Yonatan, one of the commentators that you don't have over there.
He doesn't do it. This is not the full Targum Yonatan yet.
No, this is Targum Onkelos.
Oh,
You've got Targum
you
Onkelos.
got
I got Targum Yonatan.
Okay.
There are two different Aramaic translations.
Okay,
There's that by Onkelos,
Yeah.
and then there's also, right, who was a very famous Roman convert. Right, the Gemara tells very, very interesting stories about him. He was very well connected to the hierarchy in Rome, and when he converted, the hierarchy, the Caesar perhaps even, was furious. So he sent soldiers to go bring him back, and he started talking with them and convinced them to also convert to Judaism. He sent another group, and again he convinced them to convert to Judaism. He sent a third group and said, "Don't talk to him. Just grab him. Don't talk to him. Just grab him and take him." So they came and they did just that. On the way out, he kissed the mezuzah on his door. They said, what's that about? And he said, well, amongst you, the soldiers stay outside and protect, the king that's inside. For us, the king stays outside and protects us on the inside. They also didn't go back. Right? And at that point, the Gemara says his uncle, I think it was, stopped sending people to get him. So that's the Targum Onkelos that we have here in the Chumash. There's also another commentator, the Targum of Yonatan ben Uziel, where the Gemara Megillah tells a story about him. Well, he reveals a lot more of the behind the scenes of what's going on.
He's the one in Amukad, right?
I'm sorry?
Yes. Amukad.
Yeah. So that's where I was reading from. So we actually have Yaakov's life mirroring our exile out of the land of Israel, our return to the land of Israel, and the ultimate redemption that will take place in the land of Israel. What I want to focus on today is a very fascinating encounter. Okay, we're now going back to page 174, 175. So he sent out, right, what's happened from where we left off in 172 with the prayer, the tefillah we just saw. He sends out all of these gifts to Esav. And then, Vayakam, let's go from Pasuk. Let's go from Pasuk 23. Okay? We just take that in English. Someone give us a string of that in English, please.
Lazy, everybody.
Please. Shel, thank
He
you.
got up that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 handmaids, and his 11 sons and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. And when he took them and had them cross over the stream, he sent over his possessions.
Continue.
Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. When he perceived that he could not overcome him, he struck the socket of his hip. So Jacob's hip socket was dislocated as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for dawn has broken." And he said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." He said to him, "What is your name?" He replied, "Jacob." He said, "No longer will it be said that your name is Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with the divine and with man and have overcome." Then Jacob inquired and he said, "Divulge if you please your name." And he said, "Why then do you inquire of my name?" And he blessed them there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen the divine face to face, yet my life was spared. The sun rose for him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping on his hip. Therefore the children of Israel are not to eat the displaced sinew on the hip socket to this day, because he struck Jacob's hip socket on the displaced sinew.
Strange, huh? I mean, your reading was excellent, right? But what is going on over here, right? Jacob was left alone. He encountered and wrestled with a man until the break of dawn. So in 25 he's referred to as a man, but we see in verse 31 that he does not view him as a regular man. For I have seen the divine face to face, yet my life was spared. Right? So he was struggling. We don't know what they're struggling over. Right? And when he saw that, when this man, angel, saw he cannot overcome him, he struck the socket of his hip. So Jacob's hip socket was dislocated. And then he said, "Let me go, for dawn has broken." We don't know why he needs to go, because dawn has broken. Yaakov answers, "I will not let you go until you bless me." And he tells him, "Your name will be changed." Well, your name, at least an added name, will be Israel, Yisroel, for you have striven with the divine and with man, and you have overcome. In Hebrew, very important. Ki sarita im Elokim v'im anashim, you have striven with the divine and with man, vatuchal, and you have overcome. So that's why we are called Yisroel. Based on which word? Sarita. Based on the word of striving. We're not called B'nai Tuchal. Right? Tuchal is to have overcome. We're not named for the overcoming. What are we named for? The struggle. For the striving. Right? Life is a struggle. Life is a process. And it's not the victories that define us as much as the challenges and the struggling with the challenges. Yaakov asked him, "Tell me your name. Why should I tell you my name?" And he blessed him there. And therefore we don't eat the gid hanasha. So let's take a look at some of the cryptic words that the sages say to try to get a better and deeper understanding. Okay, in the Hebrew, if you look in the Rashi, Vayivater Yaakov, Yaakov was left alone. Shachach pachim ktanim. He forgot these small jugs. A pach is an earthen jug, not the most expensive of items. The chazar aleim, and he went back for them. Rashi says, "Mikan," we hear from here we see that tzaddikim are concerned over their possessions. Shelo yishachu yedayim bagezel, that they should not send forth their hands against thievery. Okay, so he went back. The reason he was alone was because of these small jugs. Next Rashi, vayavek. Okay, that's a lashon of struggling. Rashi says. Rashi that then says, and who was this? Saro shel Esav. This was the spiritual force, angel, so to speak, of Esav. Anything that exists in the world exists if it has its spiritual force, its spiritual root. Every nation has its spiritual root. So this was a spiritual battle between Esav and Yaakov before their physical encounter will play out, which is the next thing that's going to be happening. And then it says that, okay, he hit him in the back of his thigh. he said, I need to go in the morning, I need to say Shira, I need to say my song, right? Every angel has its song to God, right? And then he says, you have to give me a bracha, a blessing. And he says, right, you will no longer be called Yaakov. Rashi understands it to mean that the blessings came to you ba'akva urmiyah, through deception, thank you, and guile, rather sarara, like a sar, right, which is an officer with gilui panim. Okay.
A prince.
Yes. Yes.
Is a prince or a chief?
Some like an officer, I think. Yeah. Now, there's also Chazal elsewhere say, the sages say, that the ashes ascended up to the kisei hakavod, up to the dust of this encounter went up to the kisei hakavod, up to the throne of glory. So there are many explanations that are given here, many different explanations. But one approach is as follows. Yaakov and Esav were arguing, Yaakov and the Sar of Esav were actually fighting over a world view. This world view difference between Yaakov and Esav shows itself on page 178. This is after they've met and there has been this good meeting, and Yaakov is urging Esav to take all the gifts that he sent. Vayomer Esav, Esav says, Yesh li Rav. I've got Rav. What does Rav mean?
A lot.
A lot. I've got much. Achi hi lecha asher lach. My brother, take that which is yours. And Yaakov responds, no, please, if I found favor in your eyes, take my gift from my hand, right? Seeing you and having you accept me, be appeased. Kach not, take please, et birchati asher huvat lach. Interesting, he's using the term bracha for a gift, right? Ki chanani elokim v'chi yesh li kol. He doesn't say, I have much. What does he say?
Everything.
I've got everything. And there are two different outlooks when it comes to this world and that which it has to offer. There is the outlook of Yesh li Rav. I've got a lot. When I've got a lot, there's always room for a little bit more. And then there is this idea of Yesh li Kol. I've got everything. One of the blessings we make in the morning is Sha'asa li Kol Tzarki, that God has done for me all of my needs. I have everything I need. How do I know I have everything I need? Because that is what God has given to me. No more and no less than what God has given to me. And that is this outlook that I'm in God's hands. I make my ishtadlus, I need to make my efforts, I need to go to work, I need to do all that I do. But ultimately, yesh li kol. I've got everything. Now let's go back for a minute. He went back for pachim ketanim. He went back for these small jugs. Our sages are letting us know that that was the issue at stake. This world view. The world view being that even the small, insignificant things, if God gave it to me, it's part of my arsenal, it's part of what I am meant to utilize to serve God in this world. And therefore, we don't dismiss anything. We don't disregard anything that we have. Even pachim ketanim, even these small jugs are worthwhile to go back for. These are and interesting in benching, right? So we say, right, after we say Harachmani Varech, the whole family and everyone, Kamoshin Itbarchu Avoteinu, the same way Hashem blessed our fathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Bakol, Mikol, Call. Bakol, with all. Mikol, of all. Call. Alls. Right? So simply what are we saying? That God blessed our fathers with everything. Ken yivarech otanu, kulani yachad. So too he should bless all of us. But it's more than that. Because by Avraham, the pasuk says, Vashem beirachet Avraham bakol, with all. Yitzchak said, Mikol asher titein li aser asrenu lach. From all that you will give me, I will give back to you. And Yaakov said, Yesh li kol. So the way you blessed Avraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov, bakol, Mikol, kol. Bakol is Avraham, Mikol is Yitzchak, kol is Yaakov. Ken yivarech otanu. But it's not just a cute play on words. That is the world view of Yesh li kol. That I am satisfied. Right? We always say the Pirkei Avos, Ezahu Ashir Hasameach Bichelko. Often mistranslated, right? Who is wealthy? Often mistranslated as the one who is satisfied with his lot. It doesn't say satisfied. It says sameach. Sameach means happy with one's chelek. What is a chelek?
Portion.
A part. It's a portion. It's a part. By definition, a chelek is not everything. There's never everything. No one has everything. But if a person is sameach with his chelek, with their part, understanding that this is the amount that was granted to them, Hakol bidei shamayim chutz miyirat shamayim, this is what was heavenly ordained that should be mine at this point again. A person can have aspirations, a person can work hard, a person, right? But a person understands that if I'm going to do it in a immoral way, if I'm going to do it in a dishonest way, that's not going to help me. We understand that we're all under this rubric of the Bakol Mikol Kol of God's supervision. It's a whole different view on life. Here is Yaakov and the Sar of Esav struggling away over here. And Esav was not able to overcome him. He did wound him. I saw yesterday, the Zohar says that if someone eats on Tisha B'Av, it's like eating from the Gid HaNasha. If someone eats on the 9th of Av, the fast day for the destruction of the temples, it's like eating from the Gid HaNasha. The Gid HaNasha is the part of the thigh where Yaakov was wounded, and therefore we say it was established the Jew is not allowed to eat from the Gid HaNasha.
Is that the sciatic?
Yes. Now, what is the connection between Tisha B'Av and the Gid HaNasha? So I saw in the Sefer Kol Mimam Makim a very, very beautiful explanation. If a person eats on Tisha B'Av, it means they're not taking the Chorban, the destruction of the temple, seriously. What was the cause of the destruction of the second temple? Sinat China, right? Which is a baseless hatred, animosity. On what? I know it's a bit of an oxymoron, but on what is based a baseless hatred? Right? I mean, if it's baseless, so why do I have it? What's it based on? Where does it come from?
The other person, maybe.
The other person what? What about the other person?
Limited perspective.
Limited perspective. Jealousy. Insecurity.
Yeah.
Good. Jealousy, insecurity. All of that comes from a lacking of which midah, of which attribute? Bakol, Mikol, Kol.
Which is?
Right? Of all, of having all. Right? This, what Yaakov said, Yesh li kol. I've got everything. Right? If I see what someone else has, and I'm jealous of that, it means that I'm not at peace with my call, with that which I have.
I'm not happy b'chelki.
I'm not happy. I'm not sameach b'chelki. Right? The late Eliyahu, of Eli Lupian, who was one of the great Rosh Yeshivas, he gives a parable, an interesting parable. We go to someone's house, we see it's beautiful, this, that, we might start to think, oh, also I want. Also I want. Even I want. He said, imagine you go to someone's house and you go to use the restroom and you decide to be nosy. You shouldn't. You decide to be nosy. So you open up their medicine cabinet. Right? And you see all the medications they have there. Right? Liver, kidney, heart, blood pressure, you name it. Right? It's a pharmacy right there. Right? So you walk out and you say, I'm so jealous. All I've got in my medicine cabinet, is some Tylenol, right? Some Motrin, dental floss. I don't know, that's all I have in my medicine cabinet. I'm so jealous. Look at the medicine cabinet they have, right? Obviously, no one feels that way. Right? I'm sorry, just 1 second. Hello, Michael? Hi. Okay, I'm just finishing the class. Have they arrived? Okay. I'm going to come over right afterwards. I'll be over in about 25 minutes. Okay, I'll see you soon. Wally Shach, those who knew him, passed away this morning. Yeah. Wally Shach. Yeah, Rini and Wally Shach were older members who were very involved in founding Beth Jacob. Yeah. So I was there this morning and I came back for class and going back now. So, yeah. Funeral is probably going to be on, we'll see. Probably not going to be in Orange County. Probably be in Los Angeles. Yeah. That's why I took it, or else I wouldn't take it in the middle of class. So, medicine cabinet, thank you. Right? So, obviously we're not going to be jealous that I don't have all those things. You understand? Thank God, I don't need all those things. Thank God, I don't need all those medications. That's how he says we're supposed to look at when other people have things that we don't have. It's meant to be, thank God, I don't need that. That's not what's going to work for me. That's not what's going to help me. Right? The Gemara, the Mishnah in Avos says, I think it's the Mishnah Avos, Marbe nechasim, marbe dagos. Right? The person, the more property you have, the more worries you have.
But Rabbi, innate, I don't know how to say it, but our natural drive is to see what someone else has, or it does also better ourselves.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Jealousy, every midah has its good application and has its positive application and has its negative application. Right? That's why we have that midah. But which way do we use it? Right? So jealousy, you're right. Kinas sofrim tarbe chachma. The jealousy of those who are wiser than us, that causes us to increase our own wisdom. So jealousy could be a wonderful thing. Actually, there's a beautiful teaching. We say that by davening, the pasuk, not the pasuk, the Gemara says that your einayim, your eyes should be lamata, your eyes should be down, and your heart should be lamala, your heart should be above. So simply understood, right? You're looking down, you're not getting distracted, but your heart is where? Is up in the heavens as you are davening. But there's another, that's certainly the truth. That's the explanation. But there's another explanation. The einayim is v'lo taturu acharei einechem. Don't stray after your eyes. The eyes are what sees what sees what other people have. Okay? The heart Achoi levavchem, right? The heart is something that senses things that are greater, right? So there's the spirituality of the heart and there's the materialism of the eyes. So your eyes should be down, meaning when it comes to the materialistic things, you should look at those who have less than you and say, wow, am I blessed? Wow, am I fortunate? That is amazing. Thank you so much, Hashem. Your heart should be lamala. Your heart should be looking up at those who have more than you, who have accomplished more than you, who are spiritually more attuned, who whatever it is, and say, why can't I also be there? So yes, jealousy is our drive, but we need to focus it in the proper manner. Okay? And we have a tremendous desire for kavod, for honor. Right? Where does that come from? Well, a person is supposed to have this tremendous desire to give honor where honor is due. Right? To give honor to others. To give honor to God. But we end up inverting that too often, and we have a tremendous desire to give honor to ourselves. All these midot have their positive and have their negative, and a person's struggle is to use it in the positive way. So the Sefer explained that the eating on Tisha B'Av is eating from the Gid Hanasha, meaning it's falling prey to this world's view of Esav, which we were somewhat stung with, right? Which did hit us, which did affect us. On this, there are a couple of many, but there are two very beautiful teachings that I also like to share with you. So clearly, from Yaakov's response, I've seen the divine, Ra'isi, Elokim, Panim el Panim. So this was not a regular person. This was an angel. So I heard in the name of Rav Hillel Zaks, Zatzal, of blessed memory. Hillel Zaks was the grandson of the Chafetz Chaim, and I had the privilege of, as a teenager, spending Shabbos a number of times with Rav Hillel Zaks and having great conversations with him. So Rav Hillel Zaks asks, if this is an angel, in Hebrew, an angel is a malach. What is a malach? A messenger. Right? What does a messenger do? A messenger does the bidding of the one who sent it. Him, it, whatever it is. So if this angel, this malach, was sent to battle against Yaakov, how could the angel possibly lose the battle? If God sends him to battle, how could he possibly lose the battle?
But the command maybe was not, we have to win.
Okay.
Struggle.
Okay. So the command was to struggle.
To challenge.
But not to win. Now, this Sar of Esav is also referred to as the Yetzer Hara. Right? This is that evil inclination. That is the struggle, the internal and external struggle that we all have. So therefore we see from here, Rav Zak says, that is when we have a challenge and it seems to be insurmountable, actually what is it? It's a challenge, and it's being sent to fight, and then cede, and then give in. The problem is, speaking from experience, what happens? We give in too early. We give in too early. But its mission is to battle, challenge, bring out, as we discussed many times by Nisayon, the challenges are meant to push us, to build us up, and then to lose. V'lo yachalo, to be unable to do it. The Gemara in Sukkah says that in the time to come, there's going to be a public execution of this Yetzer Hara, of this evil inclination. And the tzaddikim will be there, the righteous and the not righteous will be there. And both will be crying. The righteous will be crying, saying, such a mountain, how did we overcome it? And the Rishayim, the wicked, will be saying, a little hair, how did we trip on it? So the Beis Halevi again asks, this is in the world to come, this is in the time of truth, in the time of clarity. So is it a mountain or is it a hair? How could it appear differently to these two different groups? What is it truly? And let it present as what it truly is. And he explains that it really is both. It depends on what's your vantage point when you're looking at it. If you're looking at it before, while you're in the midst of the struggle, then it's this tremendous mountain. If you've given in and you're looking back on it, you realize it was a little hair. How did I trip on that? So the tzaddikim who stayed at that point of not giving in, to them, it was that mountain which they overcame. When you're looking back, you realize it was about to give in. It was about to bow out. It was going to tap out in a moment. And it's that little hair. Yes, Chayivka.
I was thinking about the little vessels. When you say a little hair, the little vessels, they seem so small and insignificant, and you mentioned how important they were. So in the story, in this Parsha, we see things that seem very small, and we see things that are very large, like challenges. But the fact that they're so small and insignificant is teaching us that they were equally large as the challenge, because through these vessels, these little vessels we would throw in the trash, in today's world, in the recycle, they convey an enormous
That's beautiful.
message.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Often we think it's the big things, that really make the person, but it's not.
No.
It's all the little things which aggregate, which add up together. Famously, when you're in Shiva, you hear, from your Rabbeim, oh, you want to be this big tzaddik, right? And you'll offer to drive someone to the airport, but you don't tell your wife, and she made a nice dinner, right? And therefore you're, right? That's not being a tzaddik. That's not being a tzaddik. It's not the big things that you do for others. It's the little things that you do in your home.
And quietly, right?
Yeah, right. That's what makes a person great. Just one other point I want to share with you, which is one of my favorite Dvar Torahs of all time, that I heard from Rav Shalom Shwadron Zatzal. Yeah. Natalie's heard this before about dozens of times. Vayishlach Yaakov, Pasuk Lamed, page 176. Vayishlach Yaakov said to him, Vayomer, he said, Hagida na shemecha. Right? Tell me your name. Now, if he's speaking to the Yetzer Hara, when he asks him, tell me your name, what is he asking him to do? What is a name? In Lashon HaKodesh, in the holy language, a name is not simply a label. A name reveals the essence of what something is. Okay? That's what a name is. A name reveals the essence of what something is. When it says by Adam that he gave the animals names, it wasn't arbitrary. He had the understanding to see what this is. What is the very essence of this item. So in Lashon HaKodesh, example I like to give, I'll give two quick examples. One of them is the letter Aleph. Right? The numerical value of Aleph is 1. Now, if we spell out the word for the letter Aleph, it's not A, it's Aleph. Aleph, Lamed, Pei. Numerical value, Aleph is 1, Lamed is 30, Pei is 80. What do you have? 111. 1, 1, 1. Right? Because Aleph is the epitome of 1. Uzi says very beautifully, Adam, mankind. Right? So we are Aleph, we have that Aleph, we have that God in us, and we also have the Dam, the blood. That's what mankind is. But where does the Dam, where does the physicality come from? From the mother and the father. Right? Av, Aleph, Bet. Aleph and Bet, that's 1 and 2, that's 3. Aim, Aleph and Mem, that's 1 and 40, that's 41. 41 and 3 is 44. Dam is, Daled Mem, is 44. That's where we come from. Just one more. Mitzvah. A mitzvah is a connection between us and God. That's how God comes down to us, and we come up to God, and that's where we meet. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud, right, God's name. Mitzvah has a Vav and a Hey. Those are the last 2 letters of the Yud Kei Vav Hey. Right? However, Mem Tzadi, there's something called Atbash, which is the reflection. Aleph is aligned with Taf. Bet is aligned with Shin. First letter with the last letter. Second to the first, second to the last, and so on. Let's see Mem. Mem, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Pei, Tzadik, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Taf. Mem is what? Thank you so much. Mem is the 10th from the end. What's the 10th from the beginning? Yud. Tzadik, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Taf. Tzadik is the 5th from the end. Aligned with Hey. So what is a mitzvah? It's the reflection of the Yud Kei, and we come up with the Vav Hey, and that's how we meet. That's what Lashon HaKodesh is. So when Yaakov is asking the Sar of Esav, Ma Shemecha, what is your name? What is he asking him? What is your essence? What is your koach? How do you get people to make such bad decisions on such a regular basis? How do you get people to go following after you? And his answer is, Vayomer, and he said, Lama zet tish'al lishmi. Not, why do you ask my name, but Lama zet tish'al, why do you ask? That is my name. Meaning, when a person goes through life without thinking, without asking, without that introspection, without that searching, without that cheshbon hanefesh, without really making an accounting, that's my koach. Lama zet tishal lishmi. That is my name. That is my koach. Right? I always say Nikes, what's their big advertisement? Just do it. We say, don't just do it. Think about it. Decide. Don't just do anything. Right? Think about things. And with this will end, Rosh Hashanah ended off with a mashal, with a parable of a country person who never been to the big city. And he goes into the big city and he's wandering around in shock, all these big buildings. He sees this cavernous big building. He walks in and it's all dark there. And he's fascinated. He sees a lot of people are assembled there and it's all dark. And then all of a sudden he sees all these lights and forms and people and pictures and colors moving around on the wall. And he's amazed. Right? He wandered into a movie theater. He's never seen it before in his life. And he's amazed. So he gets close to try to understand it. He can't figure it out. Gets closer, closer, closer. Finally, what does he do? He takes out a flashlight, a big floodlight, and he shines it on the screen. And what happens?
Disappear.
It all becomes white. There's nothing there. So he said, La Yehudim haisa ora v'simcha v'sasim v'ikar. The Jews had ora, we say in Megillas Esther. Ora, zu Torah. Torah. Light is Torah. Torah is light. Torah or. Right? Kiner mitzvah v'Torah or. The pasuk says in Mishlei. Right? Torah is the light that we shine onto a situation and we get a perspective. Is this a good thing? Is this not a good thing? That's how we are Shoel. That's how we don't just do it. That's how we evaluate a situation. It gives us the perspective and the wisdom and the teachings of generations to get clarity of a situation. So what is your koach? Lama zet tishal. That is my koach. Okay. Yes. Baruch atah Adonai Melech Shakom.
Basically, if God would have sent the Malach to win the battle with Yaakov, we wouldn't have been
Correct.
here.
Correct.
Because that's
Correct.
the struggle
Correct.
for years to come.
Correct. Correct. And the lesson is.
And Adalot Shachar, it's when all will.
Yes.
All will come.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The Sefer HaChinuch. The Sefer HaChinuch says the idea that he wounded him in the leg, right, is that there will be struggles that we'll have with Esav, and they will wound us at times, terribly wound us. But we will limp on. We will continue until, like the psukim that we didn't get to was he was limping until the sun, until the morning, and then he was fine. And that's ultimately the geula. And he says that's the reason for the mitzvah of not eating the gid hanasha, to remind us that we will have these struggles throughout our history until the ultimate geula, ultimate redemption. Leah, yeah.
And it says afterwards, and the Yavarech, hold on, I've just lost the Yavarech or Torsham. So he asked for the name, and then the name is, you've got to think and ask, and then if you do that, you get the blessings. Because it says, and Yavarech, and he blessed or Torsham, and he blessed him there.
Yeah.
So it continues on. So my name is, think about it, and then when that happens, the blessings will come.
Nice.
I mean, I'm just...
Nice.
One question that's bothering me is it says Ki ra'isi Elokim panim el panim, and yet it says later on that when Hashem revealed Himself to Moshe through the back, that it says, and no person cannot see. So I realize that obviously the interpretation here is that it wasn't Hashem, it was a malach of Hashem.
Elohim could be Elokim, referring to God, also could be referring to angels, also referring to judges.
Yes, I know, but...
Elohim means powers. So here it's talking about seeing this angel, seeing this malach.
It says it's divine, he says he sees the divine.
Right.
It's so interesting because it's the same term, it's the
panim el panim,
Yeah, and that bothers me, that, and yet we're always told that... That can't possibly
By Moshe it was panim al panim adaber, though. Right? With Moshe it was panim al panim, he would speak him. He would, right. Well, he has panai.
Panai v'chai.
Yeah.
He can't live.
Yeah.
So that's...
okay,
I just
that's Hashem and this is Elokim. Right? Elokim means powers. That's why we use the same word Elohim, achirim, for idolatry.
Yes, I know.
Right? So it's a term that gets borrowed and is used in many different cases. And over here it means those divine powers of the angel.
That's our tradition, right?
It's also with the stories that will follow with Joseph. We deal with power of Pharaoh, power of lots of things. And it's setting the stage for us for what really is true power.
Yeah.
Because that will come.
The use and not the abuse of power. Yes. Okay.
No, what is true power is what I'm saying. Not abuse of use, but who really is powerful and what really is power. Because we are coming to the Joseph story, going into Egypt and the famine and all these things that seem as if it's a power. There's no food, there's no that kind of thing. It's a power, but it's not.
And we just had that, one of the last psukim in Micha last night. We just had that idea.
Close the book on the ribbon. For the next person who's going to use it.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. See? Yeah. It's here, I'll tell you a page. I just put it in the right place. 145, I think. I think so. Isn't that what it is?
Esav and Jacob tell the story of today. Esav and Yaakov tell the story of today.
Oh, Vayishlach.
Yeah.
I got the wrong one.
The Parsha I just had in Michal yesterday was Yiru going Ve'evoshim Kol Gvur Asam. The nations will see and they'll be embarrassed. Hi, Rivka. The Pasuk in Michal we did last night was the nations will see and they'll be embarrassed from their strength. They'll recognize that which they considered to be strength was not strength.
Right,
At
and
all.
that's
Right.
really what's
Lo
happening.
b'koach.
Another layer that's happening.
Okay. Yes,
I noticed that
Amen.
from this Parsha, what we learned today, that we were blessed with the name Yisroel. We have to struggle. So we're not, like we said to we're not being
We're not Tuchelists. We're Yisraelim.
Have a good week.
So, and I mean, even how much we want to get to Israel.